All right, now, Q-Man, the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm pulling for the Bengals.
I'm pulling for the Bengals.
You know why I'm
well.
pulling for the Bengals? I like the underdog. But that city hasn't won its first playoff game in 30 years.
Yeah, I like what they're doing and the direction they're doing, and I'd like to see them win for the organization.
Okay, so you know what? You got a great guest. Let's go to the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline, and welcome into the locker room the number one pick in the 1995 NFL Draft.
Jana
Carter.
Can you imagine being in the green room on the draft day and being your first pick? And we have on the line that individual, Jana.
Hey, good morning, Jana. What's up, man?
How you guys doing?
Good, man. We're enjoying it. You're down in Florida. We're freezing our butt up here in the Northeast, and you're down in, hopefully it's warmer. But I appreciate you joining the show. And just, I went back, me and Billy were talking, and you were the first overall pick in that year, man. It was unbelievable. What was that feel like, being your name called the first?
I mean, well, one, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, right?
You start showing me.
Huh?
But it's a great feeling. Obviously, I won't lie. It was a hectic time for me because when I declared that I was going to go early into the draft, I redshirted in college, so I could finish up my diploma in 4 years, and I made a vow to my mom and Coach Paterno that I would do so. So I was getting ready for finals and doing all these things during the whole draft process. So it's kind of crazy. So because after I got drafted, the next week I had finals.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And the fact that you took them.
Yeah, you couldn't spend that signing bonus yet, right?
Yeah, that was coming in the future. But I mean, it's more like something you can reflect on after the fact because it's kind of. I mean, it's really hectic. I mean, now it's a little different now with all the. How they spread it out to 3 days and it's the whole entire week and things like that. But when I was going through the draft, it was they crammed everything in together. But it was definitely something I'm proud to say because there's only 30 something people who could ever say that.
Yeah,
that's definitely
it's something special. And your college career was great. And then health wise, we all know that it's tough you got to stay healthy in the league to play and. And especially running backs.
That running back position, you
ripped up your knee, and just it's tough. It's a hard career, man.
I mean, it's football.
Yeah.
And granted, I mean, obviously running back position is a lot more strenuous on your body compared to probably other positions that don't get hit as much because no matter what, if we're not running the ball, we got to pass block or go out in the passing and potentially catch the ball. So it's a little bit more wear and tear on your body, but that's the name of the game. It is what it is, and it's just unfortunately for me, just every year is always something that another injury happened, and it wasn't like I got injured like in week 10 or week 11. It was always like the first or second week in the season.
Crazy.
Hey, we're talking with Jana Carter, Cincinnati Bengals first round pick in 1995. Jana, man, playing in Cincinnati, tell us a little bit about what that was like. I mean, it's a smaller city, but they definitely show up. They support their football team, and this has got to be an exciting time. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals won their first playoff win in 30 years, so you've probably been getting a lot of phone calls.
Yep.
Well, obviously before that game, yeah. I mean, I'm from Columbus, Ohio, which is probably about an hour and a half away from Cincinnati, so. Obviously, yes, Cincinnati's compared to like your LA's, your Phillies, is a small market town, but they are definitely, diehard about the Bengals. Unfortunately, for the most part of the Bengals' history, hasn't had a lot of winning, but the fans have always stuck by the team, came out and showed up and support the guys, and so it's really good to see that finally that. They got that monkey off their back and was able to overcome that hurdle and get that playoff win. And not only just the first playoff win in 30 years, but they did it at home too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was great to see the fans, so the fans can obviously, enjoy it and bask in that glory and celebrate for a small time being.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on Joe Burrows? Like, his swagger? Like, what? I mean, I love him. I love his. I just
Joe
love.
Cool.
Yeah, he is Joe Cool. We're just talking about his sunglasses, after he wins the game. But he's great for the city, and I just love to see that enthusiasm.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just again from the history, they haven't had that much success. So it's great to see them having a franchise cornerstone quarterback. They haven't had that in a long time, probably since Carson Palmer was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then obviously last year when he got hurt, you're like, oh man, is this the curse is going to happen again? But no, he came back, bounced back. They've done a great job, and you could just see like his demeanor is. I mean, he's young, but he's very mature, and I think probably has to go a lot with obviously going from Ohio State to LSU and being around all those great athletes. That when he got to the pros, not saying that the competition's the same, but if you look at the teams that he played on, a lot of his guys are playing in the league.
Yep.
So he's had that composure, and when he had that success, going to the national championship, I just think, most of the time in the NFL, all the players are great players, athletically and everything, but it's just the confidence, mental. And once you overcome that and you feel that, hey, you know what? Yes, I belong here and I can play. It makes the game a lot easier and everything slows down.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we're in this town, drafting like a Carson Wentz from a Division I AA program. That was my always claim, saying, hey, they didn't play at Michigan with 110,000 or Ohio State or Penn State in 110,000 people. They weren't in that environment,
Right,
and they
right.
and then coming to the league, it's a different feel. They might have all the tools in the world, but they just don't have that the resume or the prep to do that.
Right.
So
what?
It's kind of double-edged sword because, I mean, you got like a Carson Wentz who went to a smaller school, but he put up crazy numbers. So you could say, well, imagine if he had great players around him, how much better could he be? Now, obviously, North Dakota State they're dominant.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. The biggest thing, obviously, in the league is the speed and the timing. Sometimes when you're just overmatched against another team in college, you can wait for that 9 route to open up because your linemen are just protecting that much longer. In the pros, you don't get that ball
You don't
out
get that
in 3
time.
seconds.
No.
You're getting tattooed.
We're talking with Jana Carter, former Penn State running back. Of course, you were the MVP of the 1995 Rose Bowl. That had to be
nothing in the Rose Bowl, baby.
I mean, playing in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. I've been out there a few times as a spectator, obviously, and just a great setting to play a football game on New Year's Day.
It's a granddaddy of them all.
Right?
Granddaddy of them all. So.
Yes, it is. Well, being born in Big Ten country, like I said, Columbus, Ohio, growing up, there wasn't the BCS and everything. So basically, your whole goal was
to play the Rose Bowl. Why? Speaking of that, why didn't you go to Ohio State? Why or Michigan? Why aren't you a Buckeye or a Wolverine? Huh?
Well, I visited those schools. It just when it came down to schools I chose, obviously it was tough to leave home. Just being in the hometown.
Who was the coach at Ohio State? Cooper or who was it?
Yeah, John Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper was.
But he ended up playing for Paterno, man.
Yeah. Right. That's the thing. They ran our kind of offense I ran in high school. Obviously, I'm sure you guys probably been up to Happy Valley before. I envisioned like a college campus.
I mean, you played with Joe Juravicius, Kerry Collins, O.J. McDuffie, Bobby Ingram, Kyle Brady. You guys had some talent on that team, man.
Yeah, it's funny. The year we went undefeated, our last year, we had, I think our offense, like if you go like the first team, second team, we had like 20 guys play in the league or something like that. It's something crazy. We were just loaded, but it was a blessing. I mean, we had like the #1 class coming out of high school, and it was not only because our class was good, but we had a great bunch of guys. We all chat with each other more through social media than anything, but my experience at Penn State was invaluable. I loved it. It was just
then he took over when Blair graduated. Blair Thomas 32 number over and carried on that tradition, that great tradition, right?
I was 32. I was 32 in Pee Wee. So
right.
I've always been 32.
That's it.
That was like the typical running back cool number.
Right.
Hey, Jana, give us a great one of your best memories. Give us a story from Penn State. Something that sticks out in your memory about playing there.
At Penn State?
Yes.
Man, there's a lot of great.
Yeah.
Memories that you can talk on radio.
Well, I can tell one. So, like my freshman year, my true freshman year, we were playing. Joe don't like playing freshmen.
No.
He was never not like nowadays. If you're not a freshman playing, a lot of kids transfer. So I remember we were playing at Cincinnati, and we were beating them. We were beating them 70-0, and they put our walk on running backs in, and I dressed because it was the first game. And I'm like, ooh, and I'm like, maybe I might get in because I had a pretty good camp, I thought, and things like that, and I didn't play, and I was heated.
Yeah.
I was like, Mom, come on, I can't play. We win 81-0, I can't play. I said, I'm going. And she was like, no. And then it was funny, going back towards our dorms, saw Coach Eterno. He knew I was heated. And he was like, hey, I know you're upset. I know you want to get in play, but I promise you, you keep on working hard. Good things are going to happen to you while you're here. You're going to be a great player. And at that moment, I'm like, man, I ain't trying to hear that right now.
Yeah, I want to play.
I want to play. So I feel embarrassed that we're blowing somebody out 81-0. I can't even get onto the field.
Yeah.
But, in the end, obviously, I left early anyways. But, no, it was a great thing. And it's just one of those things I used for motivation because I was, upset and just make sure I worked that much harder while I was in practice and stuff like that.
So you had
another
another year if you wanted to come back, huh?
Yeah, I could have came back.
Yeah, wow, okay.
So he goes out as a junior. He becomes
number one.
overall
So I guess the data and all the agents said, okay, you got to come out this year.
Did you know you were going to go number one? Did you know before the draft, or was it a complete surprise?
It was a surprise. I mean, obviously it's a lot different than now because there's so much more information that you can gather. But when I was going towards the end of the season, there's a photo that they have where I'm sitting on the side on the sideline, and Coach Paterno's standing in front of me talking to me. I'm in my uniform. That's actually against the Indiana game because that game, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Panthers were there because they had the number 1 and 2 picks. They were interested, obviously, me and Kerry and Kyle. No, just scouting.
Yeah.
And that's where the buzz started going, yo, there's these scouts, this and that. And then after I scored an 80-yard touchdown, and when I sat down, they took us out, and Coach Paterno was like, look, you're going to start to get a lot of attention, a lot of distractions, but just keep on focusing on what you're doing on the field, and good things will happen for you. So, going into that, from there on, you start, getting a little buzz and people whispering and talking, but you never know. So when I got after the Rose Bowl, he talked to me and was like, look, people that he was talking to said, you're probably going to go top 5, maybe top 10. Even if you go top 10, you can't pass that up.
No.
He said, I would be selfish that if I would say, I want you to come back.
Yeah, especially a running back.
And John, let me ask you a question. So then when you get to Cincinnati, how much pressure of being number 1 did you feel going to Cincinnati being the number 1 overall pick? Was there a lot of pressure on you?
You know what? One, it was cool because I was close to home. So basically I came back home. It was an hour and a half, but obviously, again, the media is not as crazy as it is now, but you still, kind of feel it. But my whole thing was you know what? I'm a football player. So once I get on the field, I'm just going to go play.
Yep.
So, though you hear obviously the pressure during the week and this and that, but usually when the whistle blows, all that stuff gets thrown out because you're so tuned in and focused on what you had to do. But it was a good feeling, obviously. But there is pressure. But I think obviously with the media outlets now, a lot more. Yeah. You don't see it because back then there really wasn't no cell phones.
Yeah,
there was no cell phones. There was no internet.
Pagers.
So, if you guys are in Philly and I'm in Cincinnati, you're having a talk show, and you might say something. You can say something about me. I'm not going to get it on my Twitter feed, or it's not going to pop up instantly. So it's going to kind of stay in that area. It's not going to go national like it is now. So I think it's a different time, but there is. Obviously you want to do well, and that a team, especially being number 1, when they trade up for you, they're really believing in you. So you want to go out and prove yourself.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, Johnny, I really enjoyed having you on today. We were thinking about you, the Cincinnati Bengals, man. It's a big game for the Bengals today, and we're pulling for them.
Yeah, we're pulling for them here in Philly.
I tell you what, obviously, no disrespect to the Titans, but they're not an intimidating number one seed. Like Green Bay get the number one seed, and then the NFL lets them play at 8:00 at night.
Yeah, in Green Bay.
It's going to be freezing.
Yeah,
wait, we just saw a picture on tell snow all over the place in Green Bay.
Exactly. With the Titans, Coach Vrabel, obviously I played against Mike. He's done a great job with that program. They're just a good, solid team, but they're not intimidating to me. And the way the firepower that the Bengals can score, if they can get that thing going, you never know. And obviously, with Burrow and I know with the linemen, there's been some injuries, but if Mixon can run the ball and do ball control, because that's what Tennessee's going to do. And then obviously hit Chase and Higgins, and they got so many weapons. There's a chance. I think the AFC is more even keel all the way across between me and you, the last four teams. Any of those teams can go.
Well, Jana, man, listen, we really appreciate you taking time out. I know you're living down in Fort Lauderdale. That's a nice, at least you're nice and warm. You're out.
We actually, as a family, we just left the beach.
Oh, okay. Rub it in. But hey, appreciate it. I'll see you guys when you come up to play golf here in our couple tournaments we play in every year.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, buddy. Have a good one. See you. Thanks
Carter.
again.
All right, see you guys
later.
later.
All right, there he is, man. Penn State, Rose Bowl MVP.
Yeah, I mean,
first overall pick.
I mean, think of the running backs that went through Penn
man.
State. He's a great guy. And, between Franco and Blair Thomas and Kajana and
great Penn State running backs.
Oh, my
man.
gosh. Great Penn State running backs.
Hey, by the way, the Cincinnati Bengals are 6-14 all time in the playoffs, 0-2 in the Super Bowl.